Here today with my friend, longtime buddy, compatriot, brother at arms, David Rosario. Dave, thank you so much for being here, brother.
Thanks for having me. I'm actually pretty psyched.
I really appreciate it. So yesterday, right, we went and hit the street, right? Now, the reason we went out there was because, I feel without a shadow of a doubt that mainstream media failed this country on just about every level, okay? They became hyper-partisan. They were partisan before, but then they became hyper-partisan.
Oh, yeah.
MSNBC, CNN, most of these, what they refer to as the liberal media, they went so far to the left that they were coming up on the right.
Oh, yeah.
Right? The right went so far right that they pretty much fell off the earth.
Well, they broke boundaries.
They
broke down any type of a wall that was already there, yeah.
Yeah. So, what did you think of yesterday? What did you think of our experience?
Yesterday to me was, I don't know, it was a tipping point for me.
Mm-hmm.
Just getting involved. I just want to preface the answer just with the entire election, everything. I haven't been this involved in politics or, what's going on in America until this election came out.
Right.
And so, given that, my eyes are open. They're
right.
wide open, and I have so much yet to learn.
Well, what are they open to?
What? Yeah.
Specifically, when you say your eyes are open, what do you mean?
The need for change.
Okay.
The need for more dialogue, for education, for the need to understand what's actually happening,
right.
and not just taking what you see. Like, you can't. When our parents grew up, when they were growing up, it was black and white.
Right.
That was okay. You could believe black and white.
Okay.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Then it was a picture is worth 1,000 words.
Uh-huh.
Now that doesn't even hold water.
No, because
gone.
Even if you have 1,000 words, if those words are not true, then what good are they? And that's the problem, right? If you look at a meme, and that's how most people get their data. They get their data from memes and basement dwellers with their own agenda, creating these pictures, a few words, and then, posting them online. People take them as fact. And that's what we've seen. We've seen the degradation of our, discourse essentially ruined by that. That exact sort of thing. Now, have I used memes? Absolutely. And they can prove points, and they can, open people's eyes to, certain facts. But if you are mistaking that for news and information, that's sadly...
How many times do you see a meme where it shows, say, Barack Obama or George Bush not doing something, and the other side saying, look at this president not doing something?
Right.
It's a picture. And you can tell that it's a picture that I guarantee 2 or 3 frames later that person is doing the thing that
Right,
they're being
right,
said that they're not doing.
Right.
I saw one just the other day, anti-Trump, where it was showing Trump not being able to look Obama in the eyes.
Right. Well, that's just a moment.
Come on, it's just a moment. And then they take that and it's perceived perception, so they give you this image. And I think the other thing that my eyes have also been open to is the need for understanding of the type of change that we're in.
Mm-hmm.
And social media is really big. It's not something that I think is getting enough attention as to how that affected this election. It wasn't just the failure of the media. I do agree with that 100%, and I'd like to get more into that too. But I do also think that social media has really had a major role. There's the falsity of these memes and these topics and these web pages that are coming up, these fake online news sources.
Right, tons.
Some
by the tons.
Some are just people sitting behind a desk in Guam, for damn sake.
In Russia.
That are just trying for clicks. They're just trying to get clicks, or even that, just trying to instigate their own agenda, or just getting clicks for money.
Right.
We can't take that as real,
Right.
and you can't sit here and say, "Oh, this is my proof." Well, I'm going to look at you and say, "Well, I that's cool. It's all well and good. Thank you for the story. Thank you for but I don't really agree with it."
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, okay. So let's talk about what happened and what we witnessed. So what we saw was someone who we thought would never become president, right? Now you have two sides that were warring the entire time. They were going back and forth and becoming further and further entrenched in their own ideology, right? Now, speaking of someone who was on the left side of that argument, I can absolutely say without a doubt that I was a victim. I fell victim to that strategy. It didn't work. As a matter of fact, I think the left has more to do with what happened than the right at this point. I don't see this as a Trump victory as much as a failure of the Democratic establishment, the liberals, and the progressive agenda. And I'll tell you why. Because what we did was become the very thing that we sought to fight against. Right?
It's still happening now.
Absolutely.
After the election, it's still happening. People are really showing their ugly sides, and they're not doing what they should.
Well, now, listen, I took with me yesterday, now for those of you, I don't know if I made this clear, we went out yesterday to talk about, to talk to people, and to more to listen to people concerning their feelings on the election itself and the process. I took with me my own prejudices, right? I took with me my own kind of prejudgments about people, and as we were walking down the street, there were certain people that I thought maybe I should avoid because I don't know if this is going to be, and it turned out that those are the people that really had the most to say.
Yeah.
Especially the last couple that we spoke to, those two gentlemen. It was like,
Yeah.
wow. You know what I mean? Like I was expecting one thing.
No, I just saw two guys walking down the street. I couldn't even tell what they looked like yet. I just said, hey, there's two guys down there that look like they weren't college age. You know what I mean? Let's go talk to them. And then it turned out to be an actual demographic that needed to have their voice be heard. And,
big time.
And it actually influenced, it supported more, but it supported how I've already felt.
Right.
You know what I mean? As we both have friends and family members that are in the LGBT community. And so, that getting a chance to listen to that voice on a local level
right.
was great for me.
What stood out about that conversation was the fact that they were scared. And that hit me right here. No one in this country should be afraid to be who they are.
Oh, yeah.
And right now, as we're speaking, President-elect Trump has decided to put people in his cabinet who represent a very extreme point of view with respect to the gay community. Mm-hmm. Okay? We're not going to see a surprise with respect to his presidency. He's not going to flip the switch and all of a sudden just, capitulate and show his liberal side. That's not going to happen. He has embraced without question the alt-right stance. He's like a chameleon, and that's basically sales.
He's a
you
New
adapt.
Yorker.
Right.
New Yorkers know how to adapt. He's a New York businessman. Let me rephrase that, okay? A New York businessman is a smart businessman, okay? You don't just get where you get and have that much millions of dollars and that much success with that much failure and still keep rocking the way he is.
Right.
He knows what he's doing from A to where he's going to be.
Right.
You know what I mean? He knows it, and he's been playing that game. And that's the game he's going to continue to play. He's going to get the people that can give him his agenda.
Right.
And then he knows that he's got to play a little bit of a game. So he has a cabinet that he has to make happy. He has people that he has to make happy.
Right.
Okay.
It's like having shareholders.
Yeah, man.
Right.
Yeah. He's got to make them happy. So he knows the give and take. He knows he's got to give and take.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's not.
Well,
I don't think it's something to be looked at lightly at all.
No, not at all. And for the people out there that are yelling and screaming about, the idea that people are protesting. Listen, guys, you have to understand that people are afraid. Now, you may not want to accept that. You may not want to, empathize, and that's your right. Okay, but here's the thing: people are legitimately afraid. Now, if you voted for Donald Trump, right? If you decided that you wanted to vote for his economic policies or, whatever stance he took that was non-inflammatory, which was about that much, right? There really wasn't much substance there, let's be honest. If that's why you voted for him, or to change Washington, I get that too. You want to change Washington, you want to throw a Molotov cocktail, blow up the whole fucking system. I get it, okay? I get it. But where are you now? Because I'm telling you right now, there are people afraid, okay? The gay community is afraid. The Latino community is shitting in their pants. Muslims are afraid. Why don't you do them a favor and reach out to them? Why don't you do them the solid by reaching out and saying, I'm with you. If Donald Trump decides to go down that route and threatens your freedom, I will stand with you. Is that so hard? It's not that hard. If I can go out to the street and talk to random people, strangers, not knowing what to expect, thinking to myself, man, I may just get punched in the face if I ask the wrong questions. You know what? But I still went out and did it. You got to get engaged. You got to step up, and you've got to assure your neighbors and your fellow Americans that you're not going to let them fall. Okay? So to sit there and say, yeah, get over it, that's a lack of empathy on a scale that is beyond description. Okay, straight out. Now, another thing. If your candidate lost, do you honestly think that your side would not be protesting? Do you honestly think that your cadre of people wouldn't be with pitchforks and guns marching on Washington? Because I got news for you. They were getting ready to do it. Okay, there was many reports coming out that they were getting ready to start a civil war. So if what you have now are, liberals and progressives and people that are not agreeing with you out marching and breaking a few windows, which I don't agree with. I get it. But I do understand the anger. And how dare you sit there and tell them to shut up? I mean, that's just absolute bullshit. Let them express themselves. Because when we stopped you from expressing yourselves, you came out and made your voices clear in the voting booths. So the least you can do is allow them to express themselves. And that's really all I have to say about that. I mean,
it's. I tend to have a more mixed view, a more partisan view. All right, I'm not left or right, kind of somewhere in the middle I teeter-totter. Okay, and so I understand why a lot of people did what they did. I understand why they vote for Trump. I can even understand why they feel that he's the right choice.
Right.
We need change.
Right.
Okay. We need it. Why not try a non seasoned politician? Why
Sure.
not? Okay.
No, I understand that.
What we got right now is not. Hold on. What we got right now is not working. Okay. And you have people who honestly feel in the depth of their heart as they look at their children that they have to fight for their money, okay, that they think's being taken out of their hands,
right,
okay, and so on and so forth. So given that, they have a purpose. They have a view. I believe in that, okay?
Right.
I believe in that. I believe in I don't necessarily believe in Hillary. I don't like her. I was a Republican for a long time, and I changed Democrat for Bernie. Bernie did not make it. We'll get into that. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole.
You did vote.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And who'd you vote for?
I voted for Hillary.
All right. So and that's where we all were at. We all had to kind of hold our noses.
Mm-hmm. Now, but the reason why I did that was at that point in time, I did not feel that not voting was an option. Right. I don't think that as an American that is an option at all. I actually looking at the people that get to watch right now. If you didn't vote, you failed your country.
Right.
You didn't protest. That's not how you protest. You protest with your voice, with your debate, with yourself being heard. By not voting, you let me down.
Right.
Sorry, you let me down. You let those friends around you that may need you. You let them down. Those that voted for a third party candidate, hey man, I'm not really thinking that's a great idea, but you did what you did. You voted, and I'm all for it. The people that voted for Harambe need to go back to school.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
If you voted for some joke like that, or you penciled in your aunt or your uncle or something like that, I'm sorry. I don't think that's the right thing. Right. You guys are wasting your votes. It's serious. This isn't a joke.
Right.
You don't vote for a guy named D's Nuts. Okay?
Yeah,
He actually got votes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the truth. All right. So, in support of Trump people, as strangely as that can sound, okay, I am someone who has empathy for them.
Right.
I want to hear what they have to say. I have debates with my family members, and I listen, and I agree with a lot of the points that they have. Trump supporters have so much passion. They have so much love. They're looking for it so much, okay, the change within their country, that the analogy I can give is when you're in a desert, you're thirsty.
Right.
You're in a desert. You want home.
Right.
What do you start seeing? You start seeing mirages.
Yeah, that's exactly.
You start seeing mirages in the sand, and that's what I'm looking at Trump people right now, and I'm saying you have to be careful. You are, to me, you're seeing mirages in the sand.
Right.
And there's so much of a deeper issue and deeper issues that are going on that need to be addressed that you have to be careful that you're not just going to see that mirage and dive down into that dune and get lost forever, because that's where a lot of people are going.
Yeah. Well, listen, man. Not everyone that voted for Trump is a racist. We know that. We know that not everyone that voted for him is a bigot or a sexist. I know that because I know people who voted for him who aren't. Okay, I get that, and they want change. But
and
like
they
you
have
said,
a voice. They have to be heard.
That's the thing, and that's where the left failed. We shut them down. We
exactly.
didn't want to debate with them anymore. We didn't want to talk.
We
didn't
can't
want
tell
to hear
them
it.
to shut up either.
Right? No, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm coming to the conclusion now. And it even pains me to say this, but if someone wants to open up a restaurant that serves only white people, my initial reaction is like, no, hell no, we got to shut that down. But you know what? Let them open it. Let them have that right, because now we have the right to picket that business. We have the right to shut them down peacefully, while allowing them to express their idiotic views.
We need that catalyst.
There needs to be a catalyst, but we cannot lose sight of our right to free speech and expression.
But we're not using it. That's the problem.
We didn't use
40-odd% didn't vote. We're not using it.
We fought. We didn't want to discuss anything anymore. We just said, look, if you're voting for Trump, you're a racist. End of story. That's it. Done. And then when people were polled, they were afraid or ashamed to even admit they were supporting Trump, and that was the problem. You see, we shut down the debate, we shut down the discussion, and then they voted it. You know, when you call a segment of the population a basket of deplorables, no matter how deplorable they are, you're not getting their vote. No. As a matter of fact, you're going to empower them to go out to recruit, to beat your ass, because the natural reaction of the human being is to push back. When we push back. And make no mistake, the progressive movement is going to push back. But we cannot do it in a way that is reflective. No. We have to deflect.
Exactly.
We have to we have to flow. We have, like you said to me the other day, man, I called you when I was my mind was racing. And I called you, and you told me the story about being a Jedi. You told me to focus, and I love that shit, man, because I'm Star Wars to the core, straight up. And it was just a great analogy. You said to me, in order for you to have power and strength and the ability to actually change anything, you have got to refocus, right? You got to focus, and you got to be, ready to change on a moment's notice. You have to be willing to deflect. Right?
And evolve.
And turn it around.
Yes.
The only way we're going to wake people up to our point of view or to the truth of any situation is by listening.
Yep.
And then coming at them with an argument that is based on reason and logic. And if they don't change, they don't change. But at least you planted a seed, right? That's what it comes down to. I mean, look, when I was younger, I wasn't half the man I am today. I was just as stupid and ignorant, as bigoted as anybody.
You and I were right next to each other, bro.
You know what I'm saying? And, I wasn't willing to see past my own bullshit. And but there were people in my life that planted seeds, and those seeds sprouted later on. Once they were watered, and once I was able to see clearly, and that's what it comes down to. You know what I mean? So, bottom line, we have to stop pretending to be right about everything. We're not. Everyone was wrong about Donald Trump. Everyone. The experts, the pundits, the left, the right. Nobody saw this coming until because I did kind of start to see things happening with the Brexit, right? When Brexit happened, that was like
it was like watching a tsunami happen, and you're watching the people on the beach, right? And you're sitting there going, oh, wow, look at this. This is so interesting. We're actually looking at this. The water's going away. Oh, look at the fish. Look at all this. Oh, my God, there's a wave coming at me.
Bro,
that's pretty much
where did you even get that analogy? Because
I'm all analogies.
Listen, because I use that same exact analogy, dude. Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Because it's the truth. It really is.
It was a tsunami.
You get so caught up in the initial happenings of what's going on, and it's tantalizing to look at, and then you then almost get blindfolded. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then all of a sudden that wall hits you, and it's too late. You're trapped up in all that debris. You're trapped up in all of that's happening in the giant whirlwind of everything, and you're getting pushed farther away from where you need to be.
Right.
And you can either completely lose or just get lost up, and it's. That's exactly what's happening.
What I love about the tsunami analogy is that everyone thought that was more beachfront property.
Everything was safe.
And if you were paying attention, you realized, oh hell no, you don't just all of a sudden have 50 acres of land appear without the repercussions. Because if you know what a tsunami is,
exactly.
And you're right, and that was the initial tsunami. It was on its way, and again, even then, people were laughing. This isn't going to happen. It's not going to happen. And this is the thing too, and this leads me to this point. For those saying that Trump is not going to do what he said he was going to do, okay, isn't that kind of the same thing? You're saying he's not going to happen. He's not going to do it. He can do it, and something tells me he might. So we have to be very, very careful, and we've got to pay attention to what's going on. We've got to be engaged, and we've got to get out into the local arena.
Yeah,
We've
we
got
have
to
to
get
be out
engaged
there.
locally.
You have to voice your opinion. I'm all for everybody out there to engage and to debate and to talk. The two gentlemen that were such moving part of our work yesterday.
Right,
They
right.
had mentioned that they're meeting with friends, and
Yes.
that's straight up to talk about
Right.
locally on a local level in our Poconos what they are doing and what they feel. Like that was great to hear. They're having a small town hall.
Right.
Okay, that's what we need. Riding on the streets. No. Picketing? Man, I'm behind picketing. Picket,
Right.
go ahead. Make your
Right.
signs, make your voice heard. Go out there.
Right.
Be with thousands. But destroying property, damaging,
No,
hate begets hate.
it's ridiculous.
Okay? Stomping on the American flag, burning the American flag.
Right.
We're going to talk about that someday. I'll tell you what, because I'll tell you, I'm not for that at all. I don't care how much you believe in something. You don't stand on something, on a symbol that has an utter strong belief.
Right.
We'll get into that hopefully some other day. But no, that's not even if you feel that you disagree with me and that's 100% right in your eyes, that unto itself is not going to do anything except inflame and create more anger and hatred. You can't do that. You have to listen to the other side. If any of you have a question as to what you can do, look up the word debate. Pay attention to a couple of debates. If you have children that go to school and they have debate class, grab their book. Look up a debate. Learn how to debate. Learn what it is. It's not just getting online. When someone disagrees with you, you vomit this information on the page. Here's 100 facts on my side.
Right.
That's not a debate.
That's not debate.
That's not a debate, man. Whether you think you're great and you're smart, I'm sorry, you're not.
Right.
You don't know how to debate, and you need to learn and educate yourself.
Right. The other day I posted something about loving my family regardless of their beliefs, right? Without question, the love that I have for these people is that's never in jeopardy, regardless of what you believe or what they believe. And someone asked me, well, what if their beliefs are detrimental or dangerous? And my answer was, that's a great question.
That is a great question.
And my answer was, well, now more than ever, you need to love these people and show compassion. Because if I do what you just said, throw up a wall of facts, that's still a wall.
Oh yeah, it's still a wall.
It still separates us, and they're not going to change their point of view simply because I am now hitting them with a bunch of information. It's like when you think about the mind, we're emotional first, and then we use strategic reasoning to back up that emotion.
Yes.
And when somebody's emotional, they're not receptive anymore. They're not. Like, all they're going to do is go deeper into their own position. They're not going to say, "No, you're right. You're right. Absolutely." It's not going to happen. They're just going to sit there, and you're going to go back and forth, back and forth. So debate, yes, it can be an emotional process, right? But you've got to have an open mind. You could be skeptical, but open-minded skeptic.
You can't back people in a corner. Okay, human nature. When you're backed into a corner, just nature unto itself, life has a certain reaction, and it's almost totally the same across all life on Earth. When it's backed up against a corner, it's fight or flight.
Right.
Okay. It's either you're going to turn them away and they're going to shut down.
Well,
they're going to go, or they're going to fight.
Yeah, this whole election was fight or flight. Let's face it. This was a fear-based election on both sides. The left feared a Donald Trump presidency, and the right fears, well, a lot of things, right? They fear equal rights. Let's face it. I mean, they fear some of the most basic tenets of a civil society, which is why I lean progressive. However, that's not to say I don't understand why.
Each side is screwed 4 ways from Thursday. Okay, they really are. Okay, things happened in this election that shouldn't have happened. Whether it was our presidential options.
Right.
Okay, because one side did this or did that. You take a look at the Republican side. It was a circus. It was like I went to see Ringling Brothers and I watched a bunch of bears tossing torches around and juggling. That was what I watched for that whole thing. And the Democratic side imploded.
Right.
They imploded. They just destroyed themselves.
Absolutely.
And then,
but absolutely.
You know what I mean?
They put. Let's be honest. They had a change agent, right? They had Bernie Sanders, a change agent.
I can only imagine what would have happened if it would have been the three. If we would have had an option of forgive me, I'm not counting out the Johnson, I can't remember his name. Right?
Stein, Jill Stein and Johnson.
Jill Stein or Johnson. I'm not counting them out of the picture. I'm just not really putting them into this because to me that's fine. That's good. We need more active parties.
Right.
But can you imagine 3? Can you imagine?
Oh,
Bernie,
it would have been amazing.
Hillary, and Clinton.
It would have been so much.
I think we would have had a lot less people not voting.
Well, absolutely, and that's the problem. The Democrats shut out their progressive base, their voice. Yeah. That was their voice. Bernie Sanders had 40,000 people in Union Square Park in Manhattan. No one covered it. That was the failure of the media. Instead, they were focusing on an empty podium waiting for Donald Trump to speak.
Yeah, man.
What? Yeah. So now we could sit here and say, well, that was the media, but the DNC didn't do anything. But yes, sure they did, because when the leaks came out, it became very clear that Debbie Wasserman Schultz and the DNC had absolutely no intention of giving Bernie Sanders any
When people
clout.
wanted that protest vote right there at the national meeting, they said, we want to revote. What was said?
They shut him down.
The woman walked up on and hit them. No, and just walked off.
Right.
Didn't even entertain the.
Right.
How do you do that?
That was the day. That was the day they lost the election.
Yeah, man.
That gavel.
Yes.
Sealed their fate.
It was a symbol. It was a symbol of the end of it.
So what do we do now? Well, where do we go from here, bro? What do we do? I mean, in your humblest.
Well, in a way, I failed because I didn't do enough. I don't think I did enough. I don't think I knew enough.
We all did.
I waited too long.
We all failed.
And so now, I think that is what I have to do. I have to educate myself, educate my family, educate my friends, offer to talk and listen and engage and actually do something.
Right.
And actually do more things like what we did. Whether it be just to get involved locally with my local government, to actually look into my local politicians and pay more attention to what's going on around and or get more actively involved. That's what needs to happen. We cannot have almost half of the population of the United States
not even voting, dude.
Not even voting. That right there is unbelievable. And that is what I think I need to do. And I implore everyone else out there to do something of the same.
Right.
Debate.
Yeah.
Bring it up, talk.
Bring up the conversation.
And then make your voice heard. Don't be scared.
Right.
You cannot sit back in a corner as someone is taking advantage of you and just let something happen. You have to get up off your knees and you have to fight.
All right. Talk about that pin real quick because we're going to be running out of time, but I want people to know, they're probably... I don't know if they're wondering, but this pin here, right? We both have that, and it's a symbol for something. So, why don't you tell the people at home
what the pin symbolizes for me? It's really interesting. My sister, she posted a image on her Facebook page, and it was great. It was multicolored pieces of paper being held together by safety pins.
Right.
And I looked at it as like, that's pretty cool. I didn't quite get it.
Right.
And then as my day progressed, I enjoy my social media connections, so I'm connecting with people and I'm looking at different things. And then it was brought up to me that there's this pin that acts as a symbol, just the same as the women wearing white, women or men, whoever voted on voting day and wore white, you were standing in support of the suffrages, of women who have fought for what they believed in. The pin symbolizes that I myself am here with you for all the people that are feeling that you're being looked at like the downtrodden, like you're being looked at like, and you're scared. Right. You have a place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have a friend. You have someone that can hold your hand. I can be, if you have a broken link in your connection, I can be that link. I can hold your hand. I can be your friend. I stand with you. And that's what that pin means to me. The more I think about it, the more it really is a fantastic symbol. Because if you think about what a pin is, it can hold something together. You know what I mean? It can make something work.
You could also stick somebody right in the ass with it.
You can. Or yourself. Or
don't forget.
Or yourself if you're not careful.
It's all a matter of how you use it. All right, guys, listen. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you were able to get something out of this. Leave comments in the section below because after the show is wrapped up, we're still going to read and I will respond to whatever and whoever I can. Get out there, guys. Start a conversation, please. Don't sit around and mistake, posting for public engagement. It's not. You have to get out there. You've got to talk to people, and you have to be willing to just kind of take the punches, man. You know, you're gonna hear shit you don't like. You're gonna hear things that just don't jive with who you are. Take it on the chin and keep moving forward, man, because I'm telling you, in the end, it'll be worth it. And it's like the great Rocky Balboa said, right? It's not how hard you hit, it's how hard you get hit and keep moving forward. And that will determine the direction that we move in as a country, as a society, and as a nation. So thanks for watching Frank Talk, guys. See you later.
See you later.